Hello, good morning everyone. I am Dr.G Sravanthi. So today we will be doing another lecture on aircraft systems and control. So that is your installation interfaces. So installation interfaces, right now why it is very important to install the different subsystems very carefully is because these interfaces make sure that engine is physically fitted, controlled, and it need to be safely operated and easily maintained, right? Because we are talking about different companies or different manufacturers taking care of different subsystems. Not all together are not all the subsystems or not all the components are by a single manufacturer. So it is very important to check the interface, right? Or it is very important to have a proper installation, right? So that there is a safety and controllability and efficiency and easily maintenance to it. So all the different interfaces that we could see in an aircraft are, right? So engine mass and center of mass, right? It need to be calculated for the aircraft balance and stability, right? Because every time the fuel is consumed, your CG changes, right? So when CG changes, there are different stabilities and the control that need to be taken care of. So it is very important to have a right or the proper installation of interfaces. Then there is a engine volume and space envelope. So it ensures that engine is going to fit inside the nacelle of the fuselage properly. And the clearance, which are static and dynamic, and there are different attachments, right? The connecting engine to the airframe, and the thrust bearings and the fuselage loads, and the interface compatibility. And also it protects the aircraft if there are rotating parts that are going to be failed, right? So turbine and discontinuement. And there are some maintenance axis and vent. So vents are used for the pump fed systems or the gravity fed systems for the fuel aircraft. And there are also some installation interfaces that require systems and its purposes, right? So there are different fuel connections which deliver the fuel from the different valves, right? So different valves or different pumps which lead from the tanks to the engine. And there is a control system connections to it, right? So where a throttle or thrust reversal can be done, and there are cockpit indications and warnings or air data or fire detection, engine health monitoring, right? Inspection access. All these are important, very important to install them in a right way so that there are no other failures or there are no damages that are going to occur in a control unit. So the control problem. The next is the control problem. Now when we understand how important it is to install the systems, right? The continuation to it would be the control problem. So the basic control action in the engine and the fuel is the right amount of fuel or the right amount of air to enter and to get compressed and to have a combustion, and only then we have that high amount of gases that are expanding at a high pressure and at a high temperature, which gives you a high amount of thrust, right? So now all this can be happened only when the input signal or input devices are properly maintained or properly controlled, which is airflow and mass flow. Now this degree of control will depend on the not all of them are same, right? So this airflow or the fuel flow is different. It is varying for the different type of the engine or a different type of the aircraft. Now for a military aircraft, temperatures could be wide, right? There are different operating temperatures. But whereas for civil aircraft, it only requires reliable and economic and long term. It only want to be a safe flight, finish the given mission profile, a minimum risk to the passengers and schedules. But for a military aircraft, that is not the case, right? It has to operate at a different temperature at different conditions, right? So that is how you go and maintain the very reliable or very efficient controlling unit to the system. So these conditions, all the different flight conditions that could include are different altitudes or different flying speeds or different outside air temperatures. So if the engine control systems ensures that the engine always runs at a optimum efficiency, and the pilot can change the thrust freely and safely, so that there is no surge, there is no the engine does not fall into the surge limit, or it does not fall into the stall limit, or there is no flame out, or there is no overspeeding and over temperature case too. the engine control up. So these are the different objectives, or these are the main input devices that need to be safely monitored and controlled. So the first is the fuel flow, airflow, and exhaust gas flow. Now the fuel flow is it allows the varying engine speed, right? It has to allow varying engine speed to be demanded and to allow the engine to be handled without any damage, right? At different rates of acceleration or at different temperatures. Now when we talk about the airflow is to allow the engine to be operated efficiently throughout the aircraft flight envelope. Now exhaust gas flow is for afterburners, right? Burning the exhaust gases and wearing the nozzle area to provide for extra thrust. These are purely for afterburners, right? If you want to attain that extra thrust, right, you vary the nozzle and you have that exhaust gases that are burning and giving you that extra amount of thrust. So these are the three main important objectives that a controlling unit has to take care of, which is the basic control problem in the engine and the fuel systems. So when we talk about the fuel flow control, so we'll discuss about each one of them. Now the first is the fuel flow control. Now when you're talking about the fuel flow control, the right amount of fuel flow control only will give you that good combustion, and only then we will have that higher thrust that is being needed or called by the pilot, right? So the control over the fuel flow is very important, right? It has to be checked every now and then. So this fuel flow is a primary control variable in gas turbine. It controls the engine speed, it controls the thrust, temperature. Right? If at all, if there is a too much fuel, if there is a too much of fuel that is been added suddenly, then there is a high pressure rise. If the pressure is increasing, then the temperature increases. If temperature increases, there is a surge, or there is a stall conditions, right? Or there is a failure, right? So all these things can happen if fuel flow is not being checked properly or is been not controlled very well, right? So if there is a too little amount of fuel, right? If there is too little amount of fuel, then the airflow intake is less, right? The pressure is less, or the airflow angles are wrong, or there is a stall, right? So compressor stall we see. So these schedule fuel according to, right? You try and go and schedule the fuel according to the speed, according to their pressure, according to the temperature, according to the throttle position. That means they need to be scheduled according to their flying conditions at that particular throttle position. The second one is the airflow control. Now, when we talk about airflow control, airflow must always match the fuel being burned, right? So, airflow through a jet engine is going to vary again with different flying conditions. So, that is the speed or altitude at its engine RPM. Now, aircraft is not always at its cruise or climb or at one particular segment, right, or at one altitude. The flying conditions are always varying, and at every different flying condition or at a different altitude, the pressure is decreasing, right, because the molecules in the air have become thin, right, and the pressure in the air has been reduced. The pressure reduced, the density reduced, which will vary with the temperature again, right, and all these losses will be continued with respect to its speed or with respect to its temperature. So therefore, it is very important to take control on the airflow. So it has been controlled by using. So these are all the problems that can occur if there is no control over the airflow. Now, what can be done in order to control the airflow is using a different variable inlet guide vanes or variable stator vanes, right? And there is a compressor bleed vanes, right? So you also need to prevent the compressor surge or compressor stall to it, right? Maintain that correct pressure ratio or keep the engine efficient, right? So it is always important to have enough air is always available to keep the systems in a safe manner and burn the fuel in a scheduled way. So the other one is the exhaust gas flow control. Now this is purely only for the afterburners, right? So after the turbine, hot gases are going to pass through your they are expanded at higher pressure and higher temperature, right? Then when you go and vary the nozzle, right, when you go and vary the nozzle, it has to control the exhaust velocity, controls the turbine back pressure, and need to control the thrust of it. So in afterburning engine, the fuel is added again, right? Just because to gain that extra amount of thrust, right? We are varying the nozzle so that you have more thrust in it, and to attain more thrust, more amount of fuel need to be added. right? So this exhaust control allows for extra thrust for at a higher at a safe pressure and a good temperature level. So again, I don't want to go and have higher pressure or lower pressure things that are running here, or a higher temperature or lower temperature that is going to happen in this case, which might lead to the failure or damage of the turbine, or the loss of thrust or a high amount of thrust, or which will lead to the catastrophic failure of the aircraft. So these exhaust gases flow control is also very important. So all these are the basic control problem in terms of different objectives. Those are airflow, fuel flow, and the exhaust gas flow. So then comes the role of electronic control. Now electronic control will allow different operations to be done in an easy way, in a safe way and reliable way, because we had a mechanical systems taking control of it, which came with certain problems, right? And those problems have been rectified using hydromechanical engine systems, but still there are certain errors that need to be addressed. That came with the development of the electronic control, electronic LAEC, which is limited electronic, and then came the FEDAC with full authority to electronic control. Now, the role of this electronic control was give faster response at a high accuracy and multivariable control of it. Right? It also acts as a simple limiter with respect to temperature or with respect to engine speed, and all these parameters have reduced or have eased the workload of the pilot. Along with it, it had maintained a good control, maintained a good efficiency and good reliability and safety parameters. So this FADAC controlling all parameters is going to read. So what FADAC does is whenever the throttle is being attained by the pilot, the FADAC intercepts that thrust need to be attained. Then the FADAC is going to read all the flying conditions, or is going to read all the sensors with respect to altitude or speed or temperature or pressure or airflow. Then all these parameters are being given to the FEDEC computers. Then the actuation is going to be processed, and then the fuel is going to be flowed, and then you have a combustion process that is going to occur, and then there is a right amount of thrust that is being attained in the aircraft, which is called by the pilot. So that means, in a simple, it controls the air, fuel, and the exhaust flow control. So now we'll just see the summarization of how fuel flow control is going to take place, and what happens when there is a when the fuel flow is more, and what happens if the fuel flow is less, right? So when the fuel flow is more increases, that means if you have a more fuel, if there's more fuel, there is a high pressure. If there is high pressure, there is obviously the temperatures are high in the turbine plates, and when the temperatures are high in the turbine plates, then you obviously have more speed, right? More airflow and more thrust or shaft power. That is one case. The other case is when the fuel flow decreases. If there is a lesser amount of fuel flow, you have less fuel. When you have less fuel, you also expect the temperatures to be lower and turbine power to be lower. The speed is also reducing, and due to that, the airflow is also less. And with respect to that, the thrust that has been gaining is also the thrust or the power that has been gaining is also less. So in order to not have either the lesser flow or the higher flow, if the fuel is running slowly, then you have a flame out, or if the fuel is running highly, then there can be a different condition that can occur. Right? So the fuel flow system need to have a proper control. It must limit the acceleration rate. It must limit the deceleration rate, the speed, engine speeds, and engine temperatures. So in order to take control over it, we have something called FCU, right, or a fuel management unit, right. So what does this fuel control or fuel management unit does is, it is a hydromechanical device. It will meter the fuel to the burners. It will control the acceleration or deceleration, right. So all the problems that we have seen with respect to the controlling of the fuel flow are to be rectified having this particular unit, which is FCU or FMU. Also, we have something called as fuel as an oil cooler, right? So before the fuel reaches the burner, it enters into the fuel oil cooler, right? Where it cools the hot engine and it heats the fuel slightly, where it also improves the system efficiency. So then there is a military fuel diff function, right? So now this is purely for the military aircraft. So when weapons are fired, you have a gun blast or a missile exhaust, which can disturb or distract the engine flow, and it might cause the surge. So you are not, or you are no more into your operating limits. You have gone into the surge limit, right? So therefore, again, there are chances of engine failure, or there are chances of catastrophic failure of the aircraft. So that in order to avoid such condition, there is a unit which is called as a fuel dip, right? So this will reduce the fuel flow, which will stabilize the engine, which are commanded automatically whenever the weapons are fired, right? So that everything is under control, nothing is going off, or nothing is falling into the do not cross limit, where different failures can occur, right? So therefore, the fuel dip is an important system or important control unit in the military aircrafts. So we'll stop at this point. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.